Every year the NFL offseason takes place, and every year players find new homes. Whether it be a rotational pass rusher on the 31st team going to the 17th best team, or a big-name franchise-changing player, free agency is a very active and very eventful period of the year. It can help a team go from a one-and-done playoff team to a team that could then make a serious postseason run. While some free agency classes are remarkably better than others, there are big contracts tossed out every year. That brings us to the topic of today's video, as we're going to discuss several free agents and where they could play at the start of the 2021 season. And if you guys don't know, whenever players are drafted between the 2nd and 7th rounds, they automatically sign 4-year contracts. There is no 2-2 like we see in the NBA or anything like that. So with that being said, this means players from the legendary 2017 draft class are going to hit free agency, or at minimum be franchise tagged or work out a long-term deal with the team they are currently with. Players like Dalvin Cook and Alvin Kamara have already signed their extensions, but others like Juju SmithSchuster, Kenny Golladay, and Aaron Jones have not. We're going to discuss several big-name players in today's video, but before we get started, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now let's begin. And we're going to start by discussing Packers running back Aaron Jones. When looking at this, there are a few factors that we simply don't know at this point in time. How much does the player love winning? How much, and I don't want to say love their family, but how loyal are they to their family where they want to be close to them all the time? And how much would they be willing to take a discount to win? We've seen players like Le'Veon Bell in the past pretty much go out and say all they care about is getting the bag and go play for a team like the New York Jets. The last factor we have to play in is how much does their team have in cap space, and can they reasonably pay them what they deserve to be paid. So in Aaron Jones' case, like a top 5 running back would get paid. Now I'm not asking for your input whether he's a top 5 back or not, I'm just saying how he will look to get paid this offseason. So taking a look at his production this year, and had he played all 16 games, he very easily would have been a 1,000-yard back. There's a possibility he still is one despite missing a few games during the year. He will likely hit free agency with 2,000-yard years to his name, and could also have 2 double-digit touchdown seasons to his name as well. He is 26 and won't be 27 till late in the next year, so we don't really have a concern there either. Green Bay is 28th in cap space at this point in time with negative $18 million, and I'm sure they will trim this down by restructuring players and pricey veterans like Za'Darius Smith, Devontae Adams, and David Bakhtiari. Whether Aaron Jones ends up back in Green Bay or not is to be determined, but they did spend a 2nd-round pick this past draft on A.J. Dillon. Dillon hasn't played a lot this year and was out for a decent time with COVID, but in the same sense, the Packers probably didn't draft him in the 2nd round to not play him. They also have Jamal Williams, and whether he gets re-signed or goes elsewhere is another question. Miami has a lot of cap space, and I could 100% see a player like Aaron Jones wanting to go there and be a part of their rise to the top. Tua, Aaron, and at this point I would imagine a top college receiver, so we'll say Jamar Chase for this video, would be a very good trio, but so is Aaron, and Devontae. I'm not saying Jones will for sure go to Miami, but it wouldn't surprise me if he went there either. But I could also see him taking a home discount to stay in Green Bay and build upon what he's done in the first 4 years of his NFL career. Next, we head to New England to discuss a complicated player in quarterback Cam Newton. Cam is in one of the most unique situations a player can be in, because not only is he a former MVP, but he has played horrendous in 2020. So teams that would pay him, or teams that would be interested in his services, are certainly going to be limited in 2021. Not only will they be limited, but unfortunately for Cam, they're not going to want him to bring him in as a starter. So with Cam and a personality and ego as big as Cam's is, my honest guess at this point in time is he won't be on a team to start 2021. The only way I see it happening is if it's a situation like the 2017 Dolphins, where Ryan Tannehill tore his ACL in May before the season started. They needed a quarterback and they brought in Jay Cutler. But unfortunately for Cam, that's what I see happening in the next chapter of his career. I highly doubt the Patriots bring him back based on this year, and if your question now is, well, who would they start? Well, they have a 1st-round pick in a deep quarterback class, so that could very well be their answer. For Cam's 2021 team, it's hard to imagine him as a backup anywhere, but that is probably the best option for him at this point in time. Indy may be the only other team I could think of, and you have to remember here, it takes two to tango, and I'm not sure how much Frank Reich would be interested in having Cam be his starting quarterback. Denver may be the only other option, as Drew Lock does not look like he's the answer, but then again, Cam hasn't been great this year either. He would certainly go somewhere where he could compete for a starting job, but I highly doubt a team will willingly give him money this offseason and say, here's the keys to the franchise, Cam, good luck. It's just not going to happen, and because of that, he will have to go into a situation and win a starting job if he wants to start at the start of the 2021 season. And next we head to Detroit to discuss Kenny Golladay. So Kenny is out with a hip injury now, and we're assuming at this point in time that he will be healthy by the 2021 season and that there's no setbacks or anything like that. There hasn't been any comments on his injuries, such as he won't be healthy for a while or anything like that, so at this point in time it is reasonable to think he will be back next year. Now for his contract situation. So Detroit doesn't have great receivers outside of him, and no, Marvin Jones is not a true number one wide receiver, and Danny Amendola certainly isn't either. The future looks bright for TJ Hawkinson at tight end, but other than that, the weapons Stafford has to work with are slim. Due to that, I would imagine the Lions would do everything they could to bring him back. For Kenny's personal sake though, I would 100% be testing the waters of free agency and seeing how much I could maximize my earnings. And business is business in the NFL, so if you ever hate a player for getting the bag when they play the most violent sport there is and they only have 5 to 10 years of their life to make millions, well, don't. It's also no secret the Lions don't win a lot of games and haven't won a lot of games since Kenny was drafted. So if he wanted to go somewhere to win in a warmer climate at that, then you can't really blame him. And yes, I know Ford Field is inside, but the state of Michigan is not, and the Decembers in Michigan aren't exactly a subtropical climate. So I'm not predicting Kenny to go somewhere south, but it is something to take into account. With how their roster is and how much they don't have on the defensive side of the ball, I highly doubt the Lions would want to do something to make their franchise quarterback mad, and that's why for this video, I am predicting Kenny Golladay re-signs with the Detroit Lions. Next we go to Dallas to discuss quarterback Dak Prescott. So this is obviously a much different situation than we expected a few months ago, and of course we wish him the best in his recovery. I think it's fair to say, with how they've played since Dak went down, that Jerry, as egotistical as he is at times, has come to appreciate how much Dak means to this team and to their success. Following his injury, they immediately dropped 4 straight, and while Andy Dalton isn't a horrendous starter, he's not exactly good either. He is a below-average starter, and that's why he went to Dallas to take a backup job. Going back to Dak, though, and I think it's fair to say Jerry will give him what he requests this offseason, as at minimum, they need a franchise quarterback to be a contender. They also need a defense, but what I'm getting at is no matter what Andy Dalton does the rest of the season, they're not going to roll with him as their starter moving forward. And Dak is better than a rookie would be starting for them in the 2021 season. Dak is a good quarterback, and I think a player like Zach Wilson or Trey Lance will be better than him at the start of 2021 simply isn't true or accurate. They won't get a chance at Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields, and even those guys will not be better than Dak in 2021. Could they be down the line? Yes, but they're not going to be as rookies. And for the sake of this video, I am predicting Dak to re-sign with the Dallas Cowboys this offseason. And the final player we go to for today's video is Juju SmithSchuster, currently of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Juju is unique for a free agent, as when he was a rookie, he was the youngest player in the league. For comparison, he is only 2.5 weeks older than Joe Burrow, who was this year's #1 overall pick. Juju has also been a 110-catch, 1,400-yard player at a point in his career. He is just 24 years old, and with that being said, he will get big money offers from somebody. From who is the question, and my guess at this point in time is it will not be the Pittsburgh Steelers. I do think Juju moves on this offseason as all things come to an end, and it largely won't be up to him. The Steelers have to pay TJ Watt long term, and I don't think they'll have the money to pay Juju. He is a West Coast guy, he's from there, and as of now, I do think that's where he will end up. As to where out there, I don't know, but at the end of the day, money talks. Now, what I am not saying is he will for sure go to a West Coast team, even if the Jags offer him 3 times the amount of everyone else simply because they can afford it. I am not saying that, but I do think he would take a slight discount to play out there. Remember, Juju is unique because of how big his social media persona is. This is a guy who can make big money from Twitch and from everything else, so I don't think money is the number one priority when it comes to him. I also think it's fair to say he wants to win, and at this point in his career, Juju, and whether you know this or not, has never won a game in the postseason. He's been close with 2017 losing to the Jags, and whether they win one this year or not, we will soon find out, but they will not go to the Super Bowl, and I think that's fair to say. Juju's youth combined with his ability will translate to a huge payday from somebody, and it's just a matter of who. A 24-year-old receiver that has production and has proved he can step up in the clutch is something NFL teams will covet, and it's a large reason why Juju will get the bag this offseason, and I do think he will end up out on the West Coast. Now, with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please subscribe to the channel if you're still watching. We are so close to 15,000 subscribers, and I will see you guys next time. Love you guys. Deuces. Peace.